All right, welcome everyone to today's session where we're going to go through the shift of our SMSF Day content that we delivered around Australia and now having moved that into an online course. So today is about helping you understand the content that was a part of our SMSF Day events and then how that has now translated into an online course for you to be able to access. So you're going to hear from both David and myself and go through I guess the context of the course, the CPD, and a whole range of other things as part of today's session. So for your benefit, a bit of an agenda. We're not going to spend an enormous amount of time on slides because I guess the real value sits in the course information to help you understand the content that we covered and therefore its relevancy to you in your ongoing CPD requirements. So what we'll do is we'll, I guess, summarize a little bit about the events and why we've now moved this from, in essence, face-to-face content into an online course. We want to explore the content structure for you, the topics that we've covered, why we cover them, the CPD, and then we're going to move into, well, if you then are utilizing the course, what does it look like from the time of purchase and then through that process of being able to access the course and what you get naturally throughout that process and then upon completion. We'll then finish off with any other kind of FAQs, some pricing around that, and ultimately what you need to do to get started as well. So we'll probably have, the best part of half an hour to 45 minutes subject to the questions and so forth that we have today. We are recording this session as well. It will go up into our knowledge base. Should you wish to go back or want to share it with others, you can do so. And a copy of the slides will also be made available after today's session as well. So we had, and it was, I must admit, it was great to be able to get back face to face. So we had over 170 odd people registered. And we had around 160, a bit over, turn up to our SMSF Day events, which we held in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth. Now, my back, body, legs, everything were pretty sore after it, having, being up talking for 6 hours on the various topics. But that level of interaction coming together to be able to work through content was something that I personally missed. And many of the conversations that we had with people that attended certainly reiterated that point as well. And from our point of view, we are really moving back to that format as we move forward in terms of our SMSF Day events. They are our showcase face-to-face event. We do obviously hold a significant number of training sessions each and every year delivered online, whether they are our quarterly updates through to specialist topics, the occasional master classes and stuff that we might do. But these type of events, we are naturally going to focus on their delivery in a face-to-face forum going forward. So you're probably saying to me, well, why are you going to ultimately then deliver this online? And I'll come back to that in a second. But what I wanted to help you understand for the benefit of, the topics that we've covered and what we've put together is that the way in which we created this content actually came from our webinar that we did at the very beginning of the year, which is my top 5 SMSF strategies. Now, we typically run our SMSF Day events in April each year. Naturally, the first half of the year with COVID still being around and quite rampant at that point in time, the feedback was to not look at doing anything, obviously, until the second half of the year. So we did sit and wait. And the natural outcome of that, given that we're in the depths of winter as well, was that there were certain people that weren't able to attend. But by and large, what you can see is that we listened to the topics that people wanted to hear and then delivered content that gave an absolutely fantastic result. So overall, we saw session feedback in its totality rate at 4.64, our highest session rated at around 4.8, a bit over 4.8, maybe 4.85 out of 5. And what people also said to us is not only was it great getting back to face-to-face, and you can see David put that there in the bottom, but the expectation of the content and the way in which we delivered our day was not only met expectations, but 77% of people said it went beyond what they actually thought it was. And it's that level of interaction and practical focus that we really try and deliver in that sort of forum. And yes, we try and deliver it in a way that can be done online. But the reality is it is a little bit trickier in that context. And ultimately, what it meant is that we had nearly 93% of people said they'll be back for this event in the future as well. So we're very proud of it. There's a lot of effort and energy that goes into those days, not only from myself presenting, but the rest of the team. But I wanted to share that with you, one, as we start thinking about next year, but also in the context of the topics that we covered and the relevancy for you in making this an online course. So, yep, the core reason, I guess, why we've done what we've done in moving this in online is that we did it in the depths of winter, so July, and therefore we had a number of people who had purchased tickets and were unable to then attend. Most of them, by and large, were more than happy to access that content in an online forum because of the fact that they missed the session. So these challenges due to illness meant that that was probably the core reason. Now, what that has then allowed us to do is to say, okay, we did have a range of people that said, are you going to do this online or not? And my initial thoughts and typically would be, no, we weren't, because of the fact that we were so hell-bent on going back to delivering this in a face-to-face forum. But again, we recognize timing of event, location, all those things are a bit of a challenge. We did have people come from Canberra to our Melbourne event, Swan Hill and other areas. So, and similarly in different states, we had from the Sunshine Coast down to Brisbane and so forth. So yes, we recognize those challenges of distance and timing, but again, by and large, these days going forward will be reflected in a true face-to-face experience. Now, when we decided to then put this online, we had two ways of doing it. Now, do we simply run a series of live webinars or run a virtual event, which is what we had to do in the past couple of years because of the COVID pandemic? Or do we want to get some experiences from the e-learning development that we've done, in particular from our SMSF Foundations course? So any of you that may have seen our SMSF Foundations course or have actually gone through it would know the totally different experience that you get from the delivery of the content in that format. And ultimately, I think, David, we got into the first module, and then we kind of had a bit of an epiphany and decided to go back and, I wouldn't say start again, but we then worked out that this would be the better way to go. And those lessons, I guess from the feedback that we get from students in the Foundations course, certainly cemented our view to go in this path, wasn't it?
That's right. And I also would like to add, Aaron, that the course, each of the events finished at about 4 o'clock in each of the states.
Yep.
And people didn't want to go home because it was really, really good to see. And I have to say, I've attended a lot of conferences and workshops where, the bell goes and everyone's gone in a blink. There were people remaining behind to ask questions, clarify and go through some of the case studies.
Yep.
In further detail, or it triggered a light about a case that they were dealing with a particular client scenario, and they wanted to get further clarification. So some people stayed an extra 45 minutes on one of the events. So it was great to see.
Yep.
They really engaged with what was being presented.
Yeah, and that was one of the challenges that we had with what we've built here with the online course. Is we had 2 sessions at the event that had case studies, so interaction on a table. So what we wanted to try and do is to go, well, we don't want to lose the benefit of those case studies in the applied learning within this course content. So what we've done, and we'll see this as we go through, is that the case studies then form part of the CPD assessment in those modules. So there's a bit more, call it meat on the bone, when it comes to that assessment piece, but it's done very deliberately to ensure that it validates the learning that you've got from within that module that we actually spent a lot of time on throughout the SMSF Day events as we work through those case studies. So let's now go and have a bit of a chat about the structure and stuff. And David, I might get you to fire away here.
Yeah, so already you get a sense it's not just, death by PowerPoint. It is about a presentation. Again, just mirroring the, I guess, the success from the foundation course, where Aaron is narrating through each of the slides, explaining each of the topics that have been presented. So you actually do take away knowledge, and then you're starting to think and being able to apply that knowledge to your everyday events with your clients. Yep, 4 modules. We've taken pretty much exactly what was produced live into a virtual environment. So you've got 4 different modules. It does include video. It's got workbooks for each of the modules. There's a number of resources that we'll see a little bit later on in the presentation of how to access those. The links to other references that you can take away and go, right, I don't need to go back and look at this. I've got bookmarks that I can reference in things that come up with client scenarios. A total of 8 hours of CPD, so we replicated the day in that virtual environment with a certificate upon completion of all the modules. And each of those modules have assessment, a quiz at the end of each of those 4 modules. It's open for 4 months. And we've actually seen some people who have gone through and actually completed the course already within 2 weeks. And they've actually been able to continually go back. And somebody actually only 2 days ago said, well, I finished the course. I need to clarify and go back over one of the topics that was presented. And we said, yep, it's open for 4 months. So you can go back to that area, get the information and apply that. So that's been that's just something to take away from the course. Yep, remote access, you're working at your own pace, just like the foundation course. It's, you can save and exit and it will commence of where you left off last. So that's fantastic. There might be distractions in a business. It's totally mobile responsive. So laptop, desktop. Something that's just come to mind is that there are a little bit differences in the screen of how you actually navigate, and that's built into the user guide as well that we'll put together. And so you'll see what I mean when you go through that point if you're using a laptop versus a desktop monitor, for example.
Yeah, and it goes right down to your iPhone and that. So it's all it will all adapt to the technology ultimately that you're using.
And ultimately, yeah, just like the other course that's available, it's not just a PowerPoint slide all the way through. There are some clarification of your learning throughout.
Yep.
Alrighty, the journey. So you've purchased the course and you'll get an email with your login details. I will get a notification of a purchase from somebody, and you'll get an email from me straight away as well, in addition to this, the login details, that you've got that login, because it might end up as a default into your junk folder. And so I'll tap you on the shoulder to get that email clarified. So further correspondence will reach you direct. So that's important. Each of the modules has its own, as we'll see, its own resources, assessment of each of those 4 modules. If you've got feedback along the way, you'll have my contact details. There's the email capability, just like if you were a subscriber to our training or documentation, these areas that you can actually ask for further clarification on the assessment or further technical queries that come about from the material presented. The CPD certificate will be automatically issued upon the final assessment of the 4 modules. And yeah, we're here to hear your experiences, feedback. It might spark other additional learnings or areas of topics you might want to expand on, and we're here for all that.
Yeah, so a couple of things here. I think we'll jump in and have a look at the user guide. So in the initial thing, and we do, again, these are all lessons that we've got through our foundations course and so forth as well, is that, once you've purchased, what do I do next becomes so important to the understanding and the, I guess, the relationship ultimately that you have with us. Am I buying something and do I know what to do and how well is it explained to me? That not only happens at the start, but it also happens at the end. And what I mean by that is our systems then can quite clearly use a range of automations here. So we will recognize not only when you start through this process, but we will recognize when you finish as well. And not only do we have a user guide that helps you work through this initial stage, but we've also set up different Q&As to actually help you and say, well, where is my certificate? We'll show you, but quite clearly there'll be other things that will come back and explain to you based upon a range of FAQs that we traditionally get from students who are going through and undertaking our CPD or course-based learning. So let's go and have a quick look at the actual Q&A, or the user guide, I should say. So,
and the user guide, it
yep,
is actually in a different area. It's within the knowledge base. So it's our main resources area of the data.
Yeah, so you can, so the knowledge base is in our Smarter SMSF platform. It's also within our learning base. We'll come to those areas in a second. But what you can see here is you'll click on that link and it will take you directly to the user guide. And David's done a lot of work on this, as he did with the foundations course and a range of other things, to actually take you on that complete journey to say, if I do this and I do this and I do this, then this is where it's going to take me. And these are all the things that enable me to work through. And we explain how long you have, how you can access materials. So all the things that we're going to walk you through with today, we have a lot of this information contained within a user guide to help you walk through and find the things that you need to find. So you'll be able to search over it if you want to skip through to different points. You can see resources and other things there, how to play through what you do upon completion, assessment, and so forth. So very comprehensive, and you'll get that in your initial email from us in respect to signing up to the course and accessing it. So one of the ones there, James, if we attended the face-to-face, do we automatically get access to the course? So no, yet you should have. Anyone that attended the course, anyone that attended the live day was given access to the course to be able to go in and watch at their own point in time. So James, if you didn't get the email, get in contact with David and he'll be able to sort of follow that up with you. That was one of the things that we did make available for all attendees. They would get access to all of that content that we ran on the day there. All right, so let's just quickly flick back to our slides and go back to the course. So what we'll do now is, I shouldn't have left there. There you go. That was good of me, wasn't it? So as we were saying before, you've got a couple of ways, whether you log in via our main Smarter SMSF platform, which is where you can order documents and training and so forth. Inside the email, you will be given, in essence, the link directly to our training platform. Now, if you have a login to our main platform, we use single sign-on that in essence takes you from this page to this page, understanding what your credentials already are. But you can see here, this is our main training page. And what we have recently done is now updated for you to be able to directly access the course from here. You can also access the course from within the courses page. The difference here being, and again, that was outlined within the knowledge base, you can, in essence, then choose from within here, whether you're doing the foundations course or whether you're doing the actual SMSF day course there. So again, either way, it doesn't matter how you access it, whether you go directly or you go to the courses page. Do you want to navigate here, David, or you want me to sort of
keep going? I can do special comments.
Yeah, cool. No worries. So what naturally, what we've done here is we've set this up in identical terms to how we ran the SMSF Day event. So there's a number of videos that naturally help explain what we're covering, what we're doing, how you can access stuff, so on and so forth. So within each of these, we have a module that contains the particular lesson, topic, and resources, everything that we covered in that particular session. And then underneath that is the assessment that must be completed to obtain your CPD in respect to the completion of the course. So that is a consistent approach in each of those particular modules. So if we go into our first module here, just to show you, this was our first session on the latest intel in SMSF. So I'm just going to put myself on mute so I don't have to hear me. But a couple of things you can see here is naturally you've got the ability to alter and adjust the size of your screen. That also deals with the mobile responsiveness if you're looking at this on an iPad, an iPhone, or whatever the case may be. You will see here, you've got navigation that you can follow. And this initial page here helps you to understand how you work through and navigate within the context of the module that we've built. So what you'll see on the right-hand side are each of the specific topics that we covered in that session. So if you want to skip through to a particular session, you can do so. Or you alternatively can just go through and go next and next and next and next. So what you will also see is that some of these pages have audio over the top that talk to the specific page. Other pages you will see shortly have both video and slide content that we covered at the event. Now, David touched on before two really important things in respect to the content that we've put within each module that related to the sessions from our SMSF Day. First one's a very easy one. You can email us directly from within here. Equally, you can lodge a ticket through here, which is our ticketing system, if you have an inquiry that you'd like to ask as well. So there are multiple ways that you can get in contact with us from within the platform, should you wish to do so that way. If you ring us, that is also fine. Typically, what we will do is, in essence, log a ticket anyway, because we do spend a lot of time tracking the timeliness and reporting of our ticketing system. The other critical thing here is our resources. So what you will see is in every module, there is a resources section. And within that resources section, there is going to be either and copies of the slides that we had from that day, copies of workbooks, flowcharts, or other resources that are relevant to the topics that we covered in that particular session. Now, in addition here, what we have included then is a range of other links that are related to the topics that we covered in the session. So if we look at something like our case law here, where you can see we have the topic that we are covering of Hill versus Zuda. So this is 13 minutes, this topic, and I go through all the specific issues and lessons that we spoke about with this case. Now, what we have now done in addition is in the resources area, we have included the link to the High Court decision. So if you want to go away and find out more in respect to that topic, you can naturally do so, as is the case with things like the non-arm's length income requirements. Again, we've got not only information contained within the workbooks that we have in here, we also have information relating to rulings, the Commissioner's practical compliance guidance, and other things that you can go away and look at in more detail on those topics. So again, you'll see here we have our workbook that goes into more detail, so 26 odd pages going through each of those specific topics that we covered in that session. So what you need to be looking for is initially, if you want to download and access some of that content, go into the resources section in each of these modules and then download that information. And then if you want to follow along from there, you can naturally do so. The other thing to note is that each of these sessions we have deliberately broken out into different topics, and you'll see the time frame that we have covered in each of these. And we've done them in a way which, rather than simply having the slide and having no visibility of the speaker, being me in this instance, putting more context on that. And this is a very deliberate thing that we have done as well, based upon feedback that we've had from our own members in our ongoing CPD training. So rather than a Zoom screen where there's a little person in the top right-hand corner and not being able to see this, we've done some editing to this content because, as many of you will know with me, I'm prone not to simply just talk to the slide, but to talk to various things that are related to that as well. So rather than looking at a slide and really not understanding what it says, but then naturally talking about a whole range of other things, again, the feedback that we've had from our members is having a bit more personality coming through, and therefore seeing me talk to those things makes a significant difference to that process as well. So, David, I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to add off the back of that, just in respect to that module before we potentially jump into some of the other modules in the assessment piece.
Yep. Just two quick items. One was just the look and feel of the screen may differ if using a laptop by itself.
Yep.
And the user guide will point you to the differences of navigation. So you'll still be able to find the resources area. It's a little bit different layout with just a laptop screen. There's across the top of the screen, there's also a progress bar as well. Yep. So as you gradually work your way through the course, and each of those modules are completed, you'll have that progression. So you'll know just how far you've progressed through each of the whole of the course.
Yeah. And so making sure that each of these is completed as you go through, and then allowing you to move on to the next lesson. So I won't bore you with the specifics in that one yet with the assessment. But again, what we've done here in our second module, in a similar vein, we're going through standard in terms of how to use the module. We have our resources in here. So we've got in this one, not only the slides, but we've got a number of flow charts that we did. And then again, we're looking at the different topics that we're covering and the information that was naturally relevant to that particular topic at that point in time. Now, one of the things that I did want to go through to here is then explaining this assessment. So each of the modules has its own assessment built in. And what we've done in both module 2 and module 4, which was part of the case studies on our SMSF Day event, is we have put in a little bit more detail of the case study into the CPD quizzes. So what you would be doing is you'd be downloading the case study, be looking at the questions from there, looking at the background, watching the video, because I talk through some of those key issues, and then you would be going through and answering the questions. And these are the questions that we had slightly tweaked to accommodate the changes in the delivery of the assessment in here, but in essence, applying the knowledge that you got from going through this module as the attendees did at that point in time and the SMSF Day event. So 5 questions, there'll be a pool of questions, and you'll have 10 minutes to naturally work through each and all of those. So you will have, as is the case with our other CPD requirements, you will be required to get an 80% pass mark. You will have 2 goes at it if you needed to ensure that you successfully complete that as well. So again, there's a very similar process in each and every one of these sessions for you to work through. Again, you've got different guidance here. You've got your assessment piece. And then again, in our final topic, that same process again and again, we've got flow charts and workbooks and links to a range of things in here as well. So, and once you have then completed all of those things and you see that it is marked as 100% complete at the top, you will be able to then on the home page, in essence, which is this page here, you will then see the recognition that you have earned your certificate. So it is 100% complete. And from here, you'll then be simply able to download that certificate that will have all of the information in respect to the assessment of the CPD for our SMSF Day event. So again, you can see all the categorization, the content, and naturally the sign off in respect to that certificate of completion. So that is pretty much the explanation around there. Again, David, is there anything else that you wanted to add from a navigation point of view or in respect to those modules?
Well, just a comment that those who attended the face-to-face events, they got a follow-up email with a login to all of these. So it's quite convenient that it's basically within the course that where all the resources sit. So it's pretty easy to locate and utilize and encourage to actually, get that workbook and the case studies before you actually commence each of the modules. So you can, take notes, and it may trigger other, ideas to engage with clients as well.
Yep. And the other thing to note that if you already do have a login to our platform, you're not going to get another login. It is linked to your email address. And the confirmation that you do get, if I just go back to our slides here, the confirmation that you do get in this here will in essence reaffirm your existing password that is held in respect to your current account with us. So whether you are a member, whether you are ordering documents on a pay-as-you-go basis, for example, you will in essence not be set up with a brand new set of credentials. It will be your existing ones. If you have never done any sort of purchasing with us that requires access to the platform, then naturally that is going to be established for the first time, and equally will be able to be used in respect to documentation or ordering of documents within the Smarter SMSF platform as well. All right, so I guess it comes back to now, what's in it for me? So why would you want to look at purchasing the SMSF Day online course? And as we've hopefully given you a bit of insight into the content that we've had in our course and the feedback that we got from attendees, the day when we run these SMSF Day events is all about getting you up to date in what is most topical and what will have the most impact in your client base as it stands today. So we get feedback from you, and then we put that content together in a way that will maximize the value so that you can go away and focus on what you need to do best. So it is all about, in particular, our first session, we talk about the latest intel in SMSFs. So what is it from a technical and regulatory perspective that you need to get yourself up to date and stay ahead of the curve? Then it's actually saying, well, what are the most current strategies and issues and topics for my clients? So contributions, we saw some significant changes from the 1st of July 2022. So that in itself was a significant topic, as was investment strategies and things like aging SMSF clients, where by now about 27.5% of all clients in SMSFs are over the age of 70. And that in itself creates some fairly significant challenges within your client base when we look at issues of succession and control and estate planning and income streams and so forth. What we absolutely want to do, and we do this whether it's delivered live or delivered online, is we want to be able to apply those learnings through case studies. So we do really encourage the need for validation of the knowledge. So you're not coming in and going, yep, and it's in your mind, and then the next day it's gone again. So it's all about going, I'm across this, I'm confident with it, I can now go and actually apply it to my clients. And we do that to ensure that you get maximum value out of the investment that you make in our business. So it's not just talking, there's interaction, there's case studies, there's flow charts. So in module 2 and module 4, we go through and we've provided flowcharts for you to use as a resource for you and other people inside your business to understand how the contribution rules work in respect to concessional and non-concessional and bring forwards and 1 year, 2 year, 3 year bring forwards, and how that applies through to age 75. Like we covered off in the death of a member from an estate planning point of view, and we're looking at it from a trusteeship perspective, but also in respect to the member themselves. And ultimately, there is a focus around all that stuff. And the benefit is we'll give you 8 CPD points or CPD hours for the journey. And David, I reckon this was one of our best testimonials we got. And I know you've been speaking to Michael about it, so I might just get you to kind of give a bit of background.
All right, yeah. So Michael had called up to say thank you very much that he attended the course. And I said, well, yeah, that's fantastic. Can you share a little bit more why you enjoyed it and you're really excited about, future face-to-face events? When was the next one, this year or not? No, you've only just been there yesterday. Yeah. So, but yeah, he was saying that he does often attend the large conferences, but it's a challenge to get approaching the presenter or actually each of those session breakout areas where you go to in those large conferences with each of those presenters again being up to ask them further, take them aside, and where it really applies to a scenario that's troubling them. And he said, look, with these small face-to-face events that Aaron runs, that easy approach, you can ask anytime throughout the presentation, talk to colleagues across the table, and stay behind, as I've already mentioned, to clarify further things that maybe need clarification, or how to approach a solution to something that's needs to be solved for the client scenario. So he said exactly that. And straight away, the thing that really stood out was that, he said to me, David, I've got a number of clients I can apply some of this knowledge to straight away. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is very much at the heart of why we deliver our content in the way that we do, because we want to have it available for you to go back and apply immediately within your client base. So that sort of stuff puts a big smile on my face, because it's kind of mission accomplished when we think about what we want to do. So pricing wise, what we have done is our course is available at $385. So you can now go and purchase that online. We do have some bulk offerings if you have multiple team members that may want to go through and do this and get the CPD themselves. So we're not here to prevent you if you want to use it internally as training for yourself and have everyone sit around a boardroom or something and do that. But just clearly note that we'll be issuing one CPD certificate for the person that registers. Now, for our members, there is a discount that is available for those of you that want to be able to access the course. You can get in contact with us. We'll give you that coupon code, as is the case that we made for those that attended the SMSF day but now want to add a staff member through. We have that same discount available to you as well. But generally, anyone that wants to look at buying this, we will give you, in essence, our early bird price that we had. So we'll take $55 off the standard price. The coupon code is there. It is only available for this week. And obviously for those that are members or attendees, it's not in addition to the price, the discount that we're already giving you in respect to that as well. So if it is something that you are looking to take advantage of, here's a little prompt to get you moving and obviously get you up to date with many of the topics that we covered on the SMSF day and how they relate to your SMSF clients for the very year that you're working in right now. So, David, I'm going to fire a few of the common FAQs, I guess, that we get asked along the way. So what does the purchase of the online course actually give me?
All right. So we've seen access to, it's basically the same learning environment as our other courses. So straight away, you can see that it's in an environment that you are going to be not just provided with a PowerPoint that you are learning something from each of the 4 modules. You're going to be assessed along the way. There's additional resources of workbooks, flowcharts, and we've seen that there are other additional resources to ATO, those sorts of other references that you can take away and apply to solving solutions or dealing with your clients.
Yep. We've obviously spoken about the access, so you would have 4 months in respect to completing the course. And David, you rightly said before around accessing after completion. So yep, we get some people that like to kind of tick that box and get it all done. They naturally have completion right through, or they have access right through for that entire 4-month period. So if you do want to go back and have a look at something to kind of top your knowledge up, you can naturally do so as well.
And that is from the time clock starts ticking down from the day of purchase.
Yep. Yeah. So once you've purchased, you'll in essence within the next 5 minutes or so, you'll get that email from us with your login details to be able to access and get underway. How and when do I receive the certificate of completion? Well, we did show you that will be available from within the platform. So again, following the completion of the session, and David, I think we've got that in our knowledge base as well, if I'm not mistaken.
We have. Yes, we do.
Yep. So let's just go across. So again, if we go into our user base here and we go to courses, if I'm not mistaken, David.
Well, it's actually in a couple of areas. Could be support. There's one on the SMSF day as well. So just how to access.
Oh, yeah, SMSF day. Yep. So let's go down there as well.
It's actually at the end of the user guide where it says 100% completion. There's a big button on the right to say, download your certificate.
Yep. So again, we've built some processes in here for you to go through and download and access that information. So again, we've spent a lot of time navigating our way through all the issues or all the things that you will naturally come across in navigating yourself through the course. Now,
whenever there's a question, there's no wrong questions, because we'll go off and build something for the benefit of everybody instead of
absolutely
trying to repeat the same thing over and over. Let's turn those, just like the feedback from your 5 strategies in SMSF at the beginning of the year. Let's turn it into something that people and everybody can benefit from.
Yep. So I guess a common one we also is if you might have the boss or the manager or someone purchase the course, that's naturally transferable to a staff member if it's for some other person.
That's happened. Yep, a couple of times already, where I've noticed that someone's actually purchased the course and there's another person within that business who has the login, and I can immediately identify that is another staff member.
Yep. Our CPD hours, they do get recognised across a broad range of requirements. So naturally, the SMSF Association as an accredited educator, that also will count towards FASEA CPD hours. It also will count towards your major accounting bodies, as it will count for Tax Practitioners Board and for SMSF audit hours. So I think by and large, we've got most of those areas covered for you there. And the last one in terms of saving progress, I think there, David, the main thing to say is the reason why we've delivered the course in this way is we naturally recognize that you do have limitations in time, especially this is the feedback that we get with our SMSF Foundations course in that e-learning environment. We know that people just can't sit there either because of other things going on or the fact that just having to sit in front of a screen and watch stuff, the attention span is very, 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 very short when we look at psychology testing and stuff around this as well, that the need to be able to look at stuff in bite-sized chunks is hugely valuable, but you can also naturally get through that entire module if you wanted to in one bite as well. So the fact that you can watch 2 or 3 things in module 1, stop, have a break, pick it up again later in the day or even in a week's time, recognizing where you're at is a critical part of that learning process, and ensuring that you're keeping track of where you're going rather than going, oh, well, I've stopped that at 37 minutes and 27 seconds in the webinar, and then you've got to go back and you've got to remember where you were and not recognizing all those things. So again, a very deliberate approach that we've done in this course to help you keep on track of where you are at. And we will give you a couple of prompts along the way as well. So we'll tell you when you're a month into your access, we'll tell you when you've got a month to go, and we'll give you the final couple of kick-alongs with a week or so to go and a day to go as well, just as a courtesy. So we've tried to think as much as we possibly can around access to the course.
And there might be even one person who have life distractions out there who, simply can't get through it all. So yeah, there's still engage with me. We'll reset.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, David, the other thing beyond the course, keeping up to date, we know that we do have a range of ways in which we, with our members, keep them up to date across CPD. So what do we have around our ongoing CPD requirements for individuals?
There's a lot,
and
I have to say, sometimes I think there's a lot of information that are going out through emails to everybody. That's how those who are watching live now or watching a replay of this later, that's how you've come across this particular session. In that, we're trying to reach out to people to say there's things going on all the time. Something of a particular interest or a topic is valuable. So, come along. So there's ongoing education. It's technical. It might be something about our product that you can engage with us and watch. It does feel the CPD tick, but it's more about the learnings and the takeaways from those sessions. So there is a calendar that changes virtually week by week, with new sessions being added all the time. Yes, face-to-face events are never going to stop now that we're back online. Also, as I've just shared with you, there are multiple different types of webinars. And there's some examples on the screen there now that are about to happen.
What we do there, David, is we try and interplay the technical and the practical together. So understanding our Smarter SMSF Trustee, what you need to be looking for with deeds, and then why ours stacks up in the marketplace. We're going through at the moment and making some adjustments to our pension documents to consider a number of critical things in respect to incapacity, in respect to procedures around the timing of pension documents and so forth. And we expect to have that released by the end of September, and we'll run some training on that. So helping you to understand why you would be using pension documents that align back to the deed and some issues rather than potentially through your SMSF software. So managing risks around those particular things. So there are a range of these that we're now running each and every month to help you understand why we develop a product in a particular way and how it translates to the technical content that we regularly deliver as well.
Yeah, and I might also add that I have a lot of discussion with people about, well, they are sourcing CPD from other areas. We're saying, don't stop that. It's complementary to those CPD or the knowledge areas that you need to build on, and that we have potentially a topic of interest that you can attend, enroll.
Yep. So as David said, we've got a calendar. I think we're doing an update this week again that will basically take us through to the end of December as well. So keeping up to date, that enables you to save the dates as well in respect to topics that may be of interest. So how to get started. David, I'll let you wrap this up and then I'll finish off.
Okay, so there is a page we've created that will you don't have to sign in to find it within the platform and our website to actually go in and have a look at the course outline, a summary of each of the modules, and importantly, that you can click the purchase button and fill in your details. You can go back through this recording to look at the coupon code to get the discount. And I'm sure there'll be somebody who looks at this playback probably in about 2 weeks and still ask me the question. So probably they might get that discount anyway. So it's all about clicking and exploring and going, yep, it's the environment for me. Do you want to have a quick go live, if you like, Aaron?
Yep, we can go to the course. We can do that. Yep.
And of course, you've got my number through the general number, email, ask questions.
Yep. Yeah. So what we've done is we've in essence.
SMSF.com.
Yep. So we've in essence replaced what was our event day into our online course. So you can simply buy from here. You can find out a little bit more about it within the video, but again, you can see the modules and what we've discussed in those particular sessions, and then it simply allows you to buy from there. And we've got a number of FAQs and stuff that we spoke about in today's session as well. So that is how you can get going, and there is literally a link on the top page, but you can also go to CPD training and then the SMSF Day online course right there. All right. Well, that is pretty much it, folks. So like I said, if you do have any questions, please feel free to get in contact with us. The details are on the page there. As I always do say, smart people do learn together. We also stick together. But I think to those of you that did come to our SMSF Day events, a very big thank you. They were fantastic, like I said, to get out face-to-face, really invigorated me to look at getting back on the road and doing those sorts of things again, although my body didn't necessarily have the same level of appreciation as my brain did. But that's a different story. But for those of you that are interested in looking at the course, like I said, hopefully today has given you some really valuable insights into why you may go through and make that purchase decision. If you're still unsure, like I said, you can get in contact with David and he can have that discussion with you further. So unless we have any other questions, we will leave it there and simply say to you, thank you for being a part of today's session. And we look forward to you being a part of one of our CPD events online, face-to-face, in the near future. Take care and bye for now.